I can vividly remember the first day of kindergarten. God bless Mrs. Kraner, Mrs. Tate, and Mrs. Post, but especially Mrs. Kraner. I threw up before I even got into the classroom because of my separation anxiety. And I can remember Mrs. Kraner being kicked in the shins, kids running out of the class, and so many terrible things happening on the first day of kindergarten. That whole year, we learned a lot, and we got the foundation for the rest of our time in elementary school. Soon, we'll move on to first grade, where because of my separation anxiety, I would have Mrs. Kraner again the next year for first grade. Brady will talk about that.
First grade year was filled with so many good memories. We had some of the best teachers. They were Miss Goodrich and Miss Mitchell. This year we also got to go on a whole bunch of field trips. Oh, we also had one more teacher, Mrs. Kraner. Sorry, Mom. Anyways, we got to go on many field trips. We got to go to the Spaghetti Warehouse, and we even got to go to Minute Maid Park. This was also the year that we got to be in the hula board. This was something that we had looked forward to for many years. We finally got to showcase our skills in the big show. I think we know who the real hula champ is. This was also the year that Miss Mitchell introduced us to Swedish fish and chicken and a biscuit. Sydney Reaves will now speak on second grade memories.
Second grade, our teachers were Mrs. Tate and Mrs. Mitchell. Silly bands were the new accessory, and our classrooms were finally on the second floor. This year, the moms really stepped it up with trying to traumatize us with the elf on the shelf. Our 8-year-old selves were shocked on the day of the Christmas party to walk into our classroom and see Mrs. Pallanez tied to a chair with tape over her mouth, begging for help because the elves had attacked her. Merry Christmas. We were then tasked to find the elves because they had stolen our books and Miss Alicia's dignity. But, I actually sat this one out because after seeing what they did to Miss Pallanez, I was like, I'm not really sure I want to find these guys. That year, the spring show was on the solar system. Some of us were casted to play planets, and our costume was a sash with the planet spelled across our chest. Because of my incredible talent, I was casted as one of the planets, and I played the brave role of Uranus. Thank you, Miss Nelson. Maddie will now speak about third grade memories.
In third grade, we made some amazing and unforgettable memories in Mrs. Norwood and Mrs. Flowers' classrooms. We learned and recited an entire chapter of Psalms, we perfected our cursive, and memorized our times tables. We also got to witness a real-life crime scene. We all know and love the story of the infamous chocolate thief who stole a Dove chocolate right off of Mrs. Norwood's desk when no one was looking. Friends turned on one another, and tensions were high as we all tried to figure out who would commit such a terrible crime. After a couple of days, the thief was caught, and we were all able to return to our normal life, where our biggest concern was making sure we gave Mrs. Norwood a hug before leaving the classroom at the end of the day to avoid getting a big kiss in the cheek the next morning. Austin Broussard will now talk about fourth grade.
One of the more memorable aspects of fourth grade was the LAC Museum. Everyone was torn over who to portray, and honestly, most of us were able to convince our parents to put together most of the project for us. On the day of, we all set up our posters and had a blast, pretending to be someone from a different decade. The second memory that stuck out to me was that of the math boards we all worked on in Mrs. Sampson's class for fun. She also taught math to Mrs. Williams' class, which meant that everyone got to try the boards. There was a class-wide competition to complete the most sets by the end of the year, although none of us were able to surpass the record Andy Van had set the year prior. Finally, everyone was excited to try out the new clubs, as we were finally old enough to join them. Chess, running, and writing were just a few of the different activities we elected to try. Overall, fourth grade was a time of new experiences and opportunities that only increased in abundance as we transitioned to our final year, fifth grade. Now Marshall Ingle will come and speak about our fifth grade memories.
Fifth grade was filled with so many great memories. Our teachers were Miss Ashworth and Mr. Shives. Everyone remembers times like the manners lunch we went to La Madeleine. It's safe to say that was my first time and my last time going there. We all love field trips like chemo, where we only had a few mishaps, like Brady getting kicked off one of the roller coasters and Sydney throwing up halfway through one. Who could forget about Mr. Shive's scab farm? And this was the year that we finally received the dreaded and highly anticipated talk by our teachers. Valentine's Day is another memory that I have where Christopher Jones, Chase Lawson, and myself snorted Fun Dip. That wasn't a wise choice. To wrap up the year, we finally got to ripstick and rollerblade like we had been looking forward to all of elementary in the PE show. Thank you to all of our elementary teachers who prepared us for middle school. Maddie Pallanez will now speak on 6th grade.
When reminiscing on my 6th grade years, one of the memories that stuck out is the feeling of anticipation we all shared after graduating from elementary school and preparing to move on to a new and exciting chapter in our lives. We were thrown headfirst into a world of newfound independence, responsibility, iPads, and most importantly, lockers. I will never forget the week before school started when the entire class came to school loaded down with bags full of some of the most ornate decorations I have ever seen. I'm talking chandeliers, wallpapers, tiny rugs, and you name it, and we probably pressured our parents into buying it to deck out the lockers that remained untouched throughout the course of the year. We became the stars of B Team athletics, enjoyed fun time in middle school choir, and gave the Starbucks across the street more than enough customers on late arrival Thursdays. We sprinted to and from classes wearing backpacks way too large for our bodies that were loaded down with an overabundance of unnecessary school supplies and hearts full of excitement for the years to come. Marshall Ingram will now talk about 7th grade.
Seventh grade, like all middle school years, was a weird time for many of us. We did have some great teachers though, like Miss Bloom, Coach Stewart, Miss Arpel, Miss Whittington, Miss Weestruck, and Coach Taglin. This is the year we got to go on our first overnight field trip to San Antonio. Chase Lawson drank 8 Red Bulls in one night. Safe to say, he didn't get much sleep. And who could forget about the unfortunate plumbing incident in one of the rooms? Other field trips included the aquarium, where we dissected squids. Thankfully, no one passed out. This is the year the football team tragically lost by 2 points in the district championship. This was also the year that love was in the air. As 7th grade came to a close, we were looking forward to being the big dogs on campus once again in 8th grade. Aaron Barshall will now speak.
Eighth grade is supposedly the year where you feel in charge and powerful, except my scrawny 100-pound self, most weight coming from the hair, didn't yield me this feeling. It, however, gave me an inside avenue on some notable cross-country experiences. We had Coach Norwood's calves, which were appropriately named Rachel and Leah for their respective beauty. Norwood sadly isn't here anymore, which may or may not be due to his criminal actions, which causing our bus named Maggie to be pulled over on the way to Sidechamp Park. Don't worry, it was made very clear that Alec was not in possession of drugs. In fact, it was Noah's inhaler that probably should have been more concern. Also, boys got second in district or state, not super sure, but regardless, this is the greatest athletic achievement of the grade. This was also the first year of V. Bowers, an abbreviation that may get you sent to the office. Ms. Bowers has since moved on to Florida, the land of sunny beaches, except she didn't say beaches. Lastly, 8th grade is the year of the Boston trip, which consisted of Miss Lindsay's very wordy tours, a near casualty to airborne nut particles, and just about the greatest nighttime escape from a hotel of all time, achieved by students who remain anonymous, except Kate Eller. He told me to mention him. Heidi will now speak about 9th grade memories.
9th grade, the year of firsts. Our first homecoming, where we learned that mums are way too heavy to carry around all day and the feathers get everywhere. And I mean everywhere. This was also the first year that we got to join high school sports, just in time for the football team to win their state championship and the girls tennis team to win theirs too. It was the year that debaters finally grew out of middle school debate, and they became novices, watching the upperclassmen win their events as they always do. Some of us acted in Shrek, and then in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Biology became the bane of our existence, even if a couple of us spent the whole class arguing over black and white chickens. Most importantly, 9th grade was the year that we learned that high school is nothing like High School Musical. Jack Quisenberry will now talk about 10th grade.
Sophomore year is undoubtedly the most difficult year of high school, but to make matters worse, we had to deal with Hurricane Harvey. At the end of the day, it showed how resilient our class truly was. This was shown by groups of students banding together and helping other students and their loved ones gut their houses. On top of this travesty, students dealt with their first AP classes, the dreaded Socratic seminar, which left students up all night and completely clueless during class, and most importantly, students got their driver's licenses, which caused massive paranoia, but a sense of freedom at the same time. Above all, sophomore year was a year of changes, some expected and some not, but I would argue that we as a class came out of the other end stronger. Alec Garza will now speak about the 11th grade.
After sophomore year came junior year, where we'd be studying the ACT and SAT test. Those tests were very hard. We would forge our futures and determine where we'd be going. After a lot of hard work, we hopefully got the score that we wanted and ended up at the place that we will be attending in this future. After that, we also had our very first trips to DC, where all of the class went together. We played very late night poker nights. We were traveling around seeing historical sites with Mr. Bowers. We lost an 8th grader. And after one poker hand, it became someone's birthday every day. Then we had our very first prom, which was unfortunately also our very last prom. While it was our last prom, it was a way to go out. We had a lot of fun there. The rides were exciting, meeting people, the dancing, just forging those bonds again, making them harder than they used to be, having the time of our lives. Junior year was a very exciting year. Little did we know that a lot would change in senior year, which Brady would not be talking about.
Well, we finally made it to senior year. The seniors in Godspell put on an awesome show. Our senior debaters also represented us nationally and locally with great success. Our senior athletes showed great leadership on the field and on the court. Many seniors also represented us very well in the fine arts. You know, when the second semester started, senioritis really started to kick in for a lot of us. But we had so much to look forward to before graduation took place. Senior trip was absolutely amazing. Oh wait, we didn't get to do that. But who could forget about prom? That was the most fun I had ever had. Oh wait, we didn't get to do that either. But good news is, we still got to do our senior getaway. It just looked a little bit different this year and lasted about 3 months longer than usual. It is safe to say that this year has not gone as planned. Who would have thought we'd be where we are today? But one thing I do know is that this year we were blessed with some of the greatest teachers in the world. We also have made so many memories that we will get to cherish forever. All that is possible because of the great school that we get to attend. Our sponsors also did a phenomenal job this year and made sure it was going to be our best year yet. Northland will always have a special place in my heart, and so will all of my friends, teachers, and all of the people in the Northland community.
So from the first day of kindergarten, 5th grade graduation, into high school, and into now, we've made so many wonderful memories, and we've learned a lot from the wonderful teachers we've had. We can't thank the teachers and administrators, parents, and everyone who supported us along the way enough. We know that the Northland community has prepared us for college and prepared us forever. I want to thank everybody who supported this class, every student, every moment, every moment of help after school. Thank you from the class of 2020.